Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
The first flakes of the season went flying tonight, now transitioning over to sleet and eventually rain. But the concern tonight is in the hills. We'll explain coming up. And right now at 10, former President Donald Trump has announced he's running for president again in 2024. We're going to hear from him, and we have reaction from Connecticut lawmakers.
Also ahead, a Russian missile being blamed for the deaths of 2 people just over the Ukrainian border in Poland. We'll hear from Connecticut's Polish community as NATO allies are on edge tonight.
And you may have to pay 25 cents a gallon more at the pump next month if the state's gas tax holiday isn't extended. We have the latest on the efforts to possibly do that.
But we begin tonight on the Weather Watch as snow and a wintry mix is falling across northern Connecticut. Here's a look at the conditions up in the Litchfield Hills at Mohawk Mountain Ski Area in Cornwall and the roads in Winstead from the Fox 61 Storm Tracker tonight. There are also some flakes falling tonight in downtown Hartford and in Vernon. The snow is expected to be gone by the morning commute tomorrow, but it will still create pretty slick roads in many places overnight. Let's take a closer look at the live pictures for Mohawk Mountain. They've already started making snow there as well as we get some flakes flying tonight, and it's a sign that ski season is almost here. And I guess winter is too. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Jen Bernstein. Thank you so much for joining us. This certainly isn't a bad snowstorm by any standard here in Connecticut, but this first snow for some parts of our state is a reminder as we ease into the winter season. We have live team coverage of this storm tonight. Meteorologist Ryan Breton is live in Winstead, checking out the conditions in the Fox 61 Storm Tracker. Gabby Molina is in Vernon to tell us how the state is preparing for winter. But first, of course, we want to check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank to tell us what's happening right now here in Connecticut. Rachel. We are quickly making that transition from snow and that first front end burst that a lot of inland areas saw. Very impressive, nice fat snowflakes, and then a changeover to sleet and even rain. And by daybreak, I want to tell you right out of the gate, by daybreak, it is all rain falling across the state. And most of the state, 99% of us, will see temperatures above freezing and fine conditions for the morning commute. The exception is in the Northwest Hills, and right now things might be a little bit slippery out there. The radar is having a tough time figuring out what's snow, what's sleet, and what is rain because things are so borderline. So I've drawn a line in here for you. Small part of Litchfield County, northern Hartford County, and northern Tolland and Windham counties are still seeing some snow, but that line is quickly pushing to the north. So accumulating snow coming to an end here within the next hour or so if it hasn't ended for you already. Now, in areas where temperatures are near freezing, Willimantic, Torrington, Waterbury, New Milford, we're going to be watching for those slippery spots overnight tonight. And if we zoom in further, you'll see it's a lot of Litchfield County with temperatures below freezing. So even as we go from snow over to sleet and then rain, it is just rain falling from the sky by midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. With temperatures below freezing, that could put down an icy glaze. So I want to watch for some slippery spots here in Litchfield County and western Hartford County as we head towards daybreak. While most of the state is going to be okay, again, there could be a couple tricky spots out there. Otherwise, morning showers clearing in the afternoon. Let's get a look at the live conditions in Winstead now with meteorologist Ryan Breton. Ryan, how are things looking over by you?
Hey, Rachel, pretty interesting this evening. We had that burst of snow that came in pretty fast and furious, but we've seen a changeover from that snow over to a mix. And here in Winstead right now in the storm tracker, you can see the ground coated in snow, the cars coated in snow too, but the crews have been out plowing and treating the roads. So right now, Main Street in Winstead, it's just slushy. However, I do caution you, outside of downtown, I was looking at some of the local temperatures, and there are some places that are as cold as 29 degrees. So the issue tomorrow morning is going to be in the hill towns here in Litchfield County, where it may take a little extra effort to scour out some of that cold air. It may be problematic for tomorrow morning's commute, although right now the main roads are in good shape. It really is the secondary roads that we're going to be concerned with from here on out. And as Rachel mentioned, we are done with the snow accumulation. It's now over to, I would say, more of a light rain here in Winstead. We had a little bit of sleet mixed in, but from here on out, it will be icy spots that we deal with overnight into tomorrow morning. And I should mention one thing that we noticed on the way up, a lot of the bridges were the ones that had a lot of snow and ice built up on them. Those often freeze first in these situations because the cold air sinks below them. And that's something that will be an issue overnight into tomorrow morning here in the Litchfield Hills and even outside of this area into the Farmington Valley too. For now, we are live in the storm tracker in Winstead. I'm meteorologist Ryan Breton, Fox 61 News.
Certainly important to just go slow. Ryan, thank you so much. And this is the first taste of winter and a reminder of what's ahead for us.
We're reminded, not even close to the nor'easters and the blizzards that we're used to getting, but tonight it's a great time to check if you're prepared for much worse storms that will probably be coming our way. Fox 61's Gabby Molina joining us live in Vernon tonight with more on if people are truly ready for winter here in Connecticut. Hi, Gabby.
Hey, Ben and Jen, well, if they are not ready, they better get ready because right now it feels like it is in full force. It is freezing out here, but I can tell you that the snow has stopped. Now we're just looking at some rain. Take a look at the roads behind me here in Vernon. You can see that they're wet, but there's really no sign of the snow that fell earlier. To see that, you have to come over here and take a look at the grass. This is all the snow that we got here in Vernon, just a little bit of a coating. I would get down in touch with my hands, but I was not prepared. I forgot my gloves and my hat for the winter weather. The people that we spoke to tonight, though, said if you're living here in Connecticut, you always have to be ready for winter weather. As the first flakes of the season started to fly, people already had winter on their minds.
I've been checking the weather, and all my friends have too, so can't wait.
For some, it's just a part of living in New England. And once the temperatures start to drop, they know it's time to have the salt and shovels handy.
Sitting out there by my door. We're ready. I don't shovel, though. That's what kids are for.
And if you haven't thought about it yet, the first snow is a good reminder.
I haven't really thought about it until you just said something, but I do have some, so I'll probably pull them out eventually when we hear that we're going to get a good, whack of snow.
Towns and cities are ready to go for the season. In Vernon, the Department of Public Works loaded trucks up with salt Tuesday afternoon in case they need to go out on the roads.
Our Public Works Department was preparing for the past couple of days, getting our trucks ready, making sure that we're good to go if needed. And hopefully we're not, but we're prepared.
Their salt pile is fully stocked and positions are filled ahead of this winter. But even though it's not quite winter yet, officials say it's especially important to be prepared for the first snowfall.
While it's not a lot of snow that we're seeing in our forecast, it is the first snow, and that's always the most concerning for us in the beginning of the season because it takes time for people to reacclimate to the driving that's required.
So whether you look forward to the cold,
I like going outside, having hot cocoa, definitely the snow days,
or dread it, get ready.
I'm not into the winter so much, but it's here.
The folks at the Department of Public Works here at Vernon have been hard at work picking up the leaves because it is still fall after all, but they did have 2 trucks that were loaded with salt. They just left the garage here behind me about a half hour or so they're out on the roads getting that out and making sure that everything is safe for everyone. Live in Vernon, Gabby Molina, Fox 61 News.
All right, Gabby, thank you. And you can download the free Fox 61 News app for the most up-to-date weather forecasts and alerts. Be sure to also watch the Fox 61 Morning News for coverage of the first taste of winter here in Connecticut. And we'll also have any closings across the state as well. We're the only station in Connecticut live and local from 4 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're following breaking news tonight as former President Donald Trump says he'll run for president again in 2024.
He just made the announcement within the last few minutes from his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida. Fox 61's Brent Harden is in our breaking news center tonight to tell us about the announcement. Brent.
Yeah, Jen, Ben, after a week of underwhelming midterm results for Republicans, former President Trump announced his 3rd presidential campaign as a Republican. During tonight's speech, Trump heavily criticized the first 2 years of President Joe Biden's term in office, and it comes after months of speculation and several legal problems for the former president.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Now, some Republicans have questioned whether Trump should run for a 3rd time. This week, former Vice President Mike Pence suggested his moment may have passed. Other Republicans have also floated Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as their choice for 2024. In the Breaking News Center, I'm Brent Harden. Ben and Jen, back to you.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. And earlier today, Governor Lamont was asked about a Trump run in 2024. Here's what he had to say.
I think the American people are ready to turn the page myself. I think you saw that last Tuesday.
Yeah, President Trump was in office when Governor Lamont started his first term back in 2018. Lamont navigated the start of COVID with Trump's White House in 2020 as well.
Well, tonight, Eastern Europe and NATO allies are on edge after a Russian missile strikes just over the Ukrainian borderline and killed 2 people in Poland. While Russia has denied responsibility, the strike has many members of Connecticut's Polish community worried tonight. Fox 61's Tony Black spoke with some of them in New Britain about this latest deadly incident.
Polish heritage runs deep here in the Little Poland neighborhood of New Britain. It's in the name. With a missile strike killing 2 people in Poland, community members here in Connecticut are concerned about their loved one's safety and what could happen next in the European country.
We feel like home. We got Polish stores, Polish doctors.
The Polish culture is embedded in the Little Poland neighborhood of New Britain. A majority of businesses are Polish-owned, and there's about 20,000 Poles in the hardware city. Marzena Izadorczak is one of them.
We just love Poland, you know, we're Polish people.
She's owned this deli on Broad Street for 30 years. Her roots go back to Poland, where most of her family is. She's worried about those loved ones after the deadly missile strike in the European country.
It's very sad, you know, because my family is there and I'm just worried about them. I don't know what's going to happen from this missile, if that was an attack on Poland.
Polish officials say it was a Russian-made missile that crossed country lines into the NATO territory. It's unclear if it was launched in Russia. Russian leaders have denied being behind the strike. That same day, Russia heavily bombed parts of Ukraine.
I have family in Poland, and my aunt lives there, my cousins live there, my mother-in-law lives there, so it really hit close to home. My aunt lives not too far from where these missile strikes hit.
Adrian Barron is the president of the Polonia Business Association. The 2 Little Poland neighbors are concerned about what could come next.
Really don't want to see like nothing big coming from this.
Poland is a member of NATO. President Joe Biden tweeted he supports Poland's investigation into what happened and, quote, will remain in close touch to determine appropriate next steps as it proceeds. He's called for an emergency G7 and NATO leaders meeting Wednesday.
But you could imagine that the level of trepidation.
Barron says this incident is going to cause a lot of stress for people in Poland and people in Connecticut with ties to the country. The NATO Secretary General tweeted they are monitoring the situation and allies are closely consulting.
Poland is still a big part of their hearts, and to have this happening to where their parents and grandparents came from, it's tough.
In New Britain, Tony Black, Fox 61 News.